Hi everyone, Boomer here, and this is another episode of Let's Look at Star Trek Adversaries. This time we're going to be looking at the arena, and you may notice the old sort of ghetto Windows Media setting here, but this is mainly one of my sort of get-arounds for the fact that my editing software is playing up a little bit at the moment, and hopefully it won't have too much of an impact. What I'm going to be waiting for, what I'm going to be hoping for, is that um, I can actually pause the video on this side and, if necessary, to go over what may be strategic decisions, and that should hopefully make the videos a little bit more entertaining and informal on that side, or formal, informal, informational, I suppose, on that side. But the first thing I'm going to show you is the opening of packs, which in this game is obviously something that you want. And of course I've completely rigged it, so there's a legendary immediately. I'm not too sure that Scotty is the best legendary I could have opened, but it's a legendary, so there you go. And it's actually quite easy to earn packs in the game currently. I'm not too sure how it's going to change as the game develops, but right now, whenever you run a arena or a Quark arena, you can buy packs for 100 Latinum anyway, or for cash when that's available in the game. But you also, every time you run a Quark's arena, you get a pack, and you can also cash in a certain amount of wins for a pack, but I will take you through that when we look at the actual arena itself. You'll notice I've opened two copies of this IKSM char, which is why it now has 2 blue stars. And of course we're just going to go through, yep, that's one thing that I did want to show off. You'll notice this swirly effect means that it is surplus to requirements. I already have this card maxed out, and therefore when I hit done here, that will be automatically disenchanted and give me 5 Latinum. So therefore there is a sort of advantage to I suppose a sort of advantage to playing to having excess cards. Now here's how the arena works. You pick one of 3 classes. You are offered Klingon classes as well, so it's 3 out of the, I believe, 24 classes I want to say at the moment. There's a lot. So I've decided on this one I'm going to go with the Sovereign class ship because it is my favourite ship from the franchise. Nothing to do with how good the ship actually is, although it seems to be a big heel boat. So in this case, the way I tend to open arena, I don't really want more than sort of, I'd say 7 crew, maybe 8 to 10 if you've got a lot of crewable spaces. But I'm going to start off in any sort of arena with a ship unless it's got a super powerful crew. There are a couple of good ones there, but I think the ship was probably the best option. On this one, Traveller's pretty good, but again I'm going ship. Out of this one, I think the Valiant's the best card by a long way anyway, so really the Valiant doesn't cost, I don't think the Valiant costs 6 at all. I think it costs 6 plus whatever a commander is, because otherwise the card's just terrible, but once you put a commander on it, the ship becomes really, really good. Toss up here between Nebula class and the 6-5 Gauntlet. I went with the Nebula. This one, Kim is pretty good because cloaking tends to be a fairly irritating thing in this game, but I think I go with the Odyssey on this one. It's a Guardian and it has a disable on it, so that's pretty good. The Type 6 Shuttlecraft is one of the best 1-drops in the game, so I'm going to take that, mainly because it's a 1-drop that turns into a 3-drop. Retreat's a very powerful mechanic, so I'm going to go ahead with that. Plus I need some early drops. I think the best card here is Burial, giving adjacent ships +1/+1 and Guardian. It's a big buff. It's a buff to the power or defense of the ship he's played on, and the ship that he's actually played on. He gets +1 attack or defense, so that's a super good card. Heroian Warship. I think I'm going to go with the Challenger here. Useful ability with retreat, return the ship to your hand. If you've got some ships which have abilities, you can just pick them up. You'll get the energy back from them so you can play them back immediately. So at worst it's a heal, at best it has something else. My deck's a little bit too slow to utilise Sato. I don't think Tellarite Raider's that good. I don't really have a deck that works with it, so I'm going to go Valeris here, although none of the options are really fantastic. I'm not playing a Augment Bird of Prey deck. I don't know enough about Paris to see if he's good or not, so Riker seems to be just about the most overtly good, so I'm going to go with Riker on this one. Tara is actually a good card. Pulaski, expensive for what she does, and I wouldn't have that's actually a mistake from me, and I will actually I'll just pause the video there. I actually will admit to when I have made mistakes, so that's a little bit of a problem there. I will admit when I've made mistakes. I think there I probably would go with Tara now. I've already got a Valiant, so I would like a cheap commander, and Tara can act as a ping as well, so I think that that was a mistake, and in reality I think I should have picked Tara there. Here I've already got heals from the Decay, so I'm going to go on, and I don't really have too many disables for Row, so I'm going to go with the Decay. I think actually here the correct pick was the Ferengi ship, because I will be getting event cards and the others just aren't very good. Modulating shields is pretty good, but I think the Galaxy class starship fits a lot more with what I want to be doing. The Sovereign can overheal, which is, I mean, so this can end up being a 4/7, which, you know, with Modulate Shield makes it very difficult to kill. Don't have many 4-drops, 3/4 with Guardian is fine for 4. Mackie Raider's mess, so I'll take the crew. I've got another Valiant here. I think oh wait, Mayweather's good. Mayweather is good, and I don't have many 3s. But the Valiant's so good, it's so hard to turn down. I think looking at the number of crew I have, I really don't agree with this one. I think I should be going Valiant there. And taking Narok as well. I think I got a little bit fixated on having 3 drops there. We're still sort of midway into the draft. More 3 drops are going to come up. The Decoy Cruiser is pretty good. It summons a 1/2 with Taunt with it, so I think I probably would take that. All these options are good. Kira's super good, especially if you can retreat with her. She'll go back into your deck. But the Enterprise D is also takeable because it's just a really big bomb, which is quite good. Fairly mediocre options there. The Danube is a good card. Take that, pretty much shuts down an enemy ship. I think either I sock or the Escort, and probably the Escort. I don't want to overdo crew. This is definitely the Valiant here. The other two just aren't even in its league, so I would take the Valiant here. Probably Yates here. The M113 creature Salt Vampire doesn't really impress me too much. Jarok is pretty good. Good stats. Draws a card when he comes into play. Again, the Decoy Cruiser is pretty good here, but the Sharan Cruiser is also good as well because it's a heal. Cheap crew, fine. I've got 2 Valiants now, so I could do a cheap crew, and I'll take a second Danube, I think, here just to round things off. So overall, I think I could have done a little bit better with that deck. I think there were a couple of areas where I wasn't too sure on what I was, well, I was sort of sure on what I was doing, but at the time, but I think I definitely could have done better with some of my choices. I'm up against Riker, who is a disable deck. I'm going to get rid of Pulaski to begin with. Pulaski is the one pick who I think is really shouldn't be in my deck. She just really should not be in my deck. Not going to use the dilithium boost because I don't really want to get a 2/2 with Guard. I don't want to waste it getting a 2/2 with Guardian out. What I'm probably going to do is play the Bajoran Escort, play the Klingon ship on 3, and then use the dilithium upgrade to power out the Galaxy class ship, and then look to put Burial in the middle somewhere. That's a good draw as well. So now I actually have a natural curve of 2-drop into 3-drop into dilithium boosted 5-drop into 5-drop into 6-drop. So I've got a good curve here. The AI does something which it doesn't usually do, which is retreat, and yeah, it's kind of wasted a little bit of potential there, I think. Now I'm just going to leave my ship in cloak because it's not really it's not doing too much there. The Merriman, I think Merriman does double damage to Guardian, so I could put that in there, but I'd rather just go for board position here. And this is what I was saying about the Sovereign. I can overheal, and I've already got its legendary event there, which is 2 Nebula class escorts. The Nebula class escort is a 3/4 for 4 that when it's undamaged at end of turn gains 1 attack. So, and they're Guardians, so they're automatically 4/4s with Guardians, and they just keep getting better. That's fine for them to disable it because the ship still has Guardian, so that's okay. I can't use the distress call yet, so I'm going to put out the USS Glenn here. It's another really big taunt, I think. Or I could go for, yeah, I think this is fine as well. Just clear up his ship. And now he's got nothing in play, I can actually uncloak the Covert Raider and start doing damage. There's his own, he responds with his own galaxy, which is fine. Now, I can either use Barile or I can use escorts. The other option is to use the decay and trade my galaxy for his galaxy, which is definitely something I can do. Or I can just drop. It's actually can't. I think I'm going to go for the 2 Nebula class escorts if I'm right here. I think that would have been the better idea. I'm not actually sure when I played this. I'm not actually sure if I knew what the Nebula class ship was. You'll notice that my Covert Raider actually went back into cloak there. And here I think he's just... No, he's actually just going to be terrible. I thought he was going to kill my 4/4 for 3. And as I said, the AI is not particularly good in this game. It makes a lot of very sort of basic errors. So here I can actually cast Barile on my... I think that was definitely something I could have done. I could have cast Barile on my Galaxy class ship and got a big bonus and traded it in. But I think this is fine as well because it gives me a higher health. It gives me a higher health ship in play and allows me to just keep doing some damage. Next turn I'm going to have my ability up again, so I'm going to be able to overheal the Galaxy again. And it will actually overheal it and increase its hit points, so it will essentially heal it by 4. So it will become a 4/8 if I decide to heal it that way. Now I've got 8 mana here, so I can actually just drop the Enterprise and start really going to town on my opponent. Again, I've only got 8, so I'm actually going to trade off my... I'm getting rid of my Raider there, which I actually think is fine because I can now use the Distress Call. And there you go, 2 Nebula class escorts. And I can ram my Galaxy class starship into his Reliant and then overheal it. So if we slam in now, you see it goes down to a 4/2. I can now hit my special and overheal it and it goes back up to being a 4/6. So a couple of options here. I can have a 7/7 Guardian for 6 that goes to being a 3/7 when it gets damaged, which is fine. So both my 2 ships here are disabled, so I can't do anything about that. So I'm just going to have to end turn at this point. But I'm also in a pretty good position that I can use Barile very quickly as well. And there's my ships going up to 4/4s. And he uses O'Brien to disable my ships again, so it's going to be both my... Oh, he gets perfect as well, because these ones can disable ships that are already disabled, as it were. So I think Barile's definitely an option here. Stick Barile in... I like Barile in defense because my deck is very defensive, and that allows me to just sit behind this humongous amount of walls. I could boost up the defense on my Decay Battlecruiser, but it doesn't really accomplish anything, so I'm just going to attack, and I think end turn's fine here. And yep, my nebulas just keep getting bigger. And I've also got my special ability back next turn as well. So you can see how this sort of deck is just a total and utter snowball. Obviously we're against easy AI at the start, and what happens in Arena, which is quite interesting, is that you will start off against easy AI, so easy decks, and you will, as you win, you will work your way up the rankings up to the super hardcore, difficult ships. And oh, that's interesting, warp power transfer. And eventually you'll end up taking on Borg cubes and tactical cubes and things like that, and those fights are not easy in the slightest. Just figuring out the best way to do this, that isn't it. Yeah, that's fine. I could also... I'm sort of protecting my Nebula classes here, because... And let's just heal up my Galaxy class again, I think. The old event card, there you go. And I'm doing that just for the sole purpose of making them get as higher power as possible. You can see they're just ticking up there constantly. And I don't quite have lethal. Well, I do have lethal. I can just use cast D8s, and that's lethal. I probably decide to be vindictive instead, but this game's completely and utterly over, so there's really no need to do anything but to go face here. And yeah, this is unnecessary in the extreme, but never mind. I think I was concentrated on the fact that I've actually got 10 mana at this point, so I can now do the whole Valiant plus thing. But really, if you're... There's like 10 million ways my opponent's dead here, but, The whole idea, at least, of playing a TCG, the first question I've started, now that I've started playing the game an awful lot more, I've started finding myself getting back into the groove of asking the questions in a turn in the correct order. And the questions you should be asking, certainly in the first question you should always ask yourself on a turn is, can I kill my opponent? Now, in these sorts of games, all 4 of my ships are now disabled. That's annoying. In these games, I think that games such as this one make it a little bit more easy, for the plain and simple reason that I can disable back here, or I can use the Enterprise. Either's fine. For the plain and simple reason that your opponent can't interact with you on your turn, unlike a game like Magic the Gathering. The very simple fact is you just go, can I kill my opponent? If the answer is yes, then kill your opponent. Nothing else matters. So that's the first question you ask yourself on any single turn. The second question, if I can't kill my opponent, is there a chance I can take where there is a possibility that I kill my opponent? Now, that can often be, and you might see an example of this, I don't know. You probably saw an example of it last time, where if I draw a certain card off my deck, let's just end this. If I draw a certain card off my deck, or my core, can I engineer a circumstance where my opponent is dead? And so that'd be the second thing that you think about doing. So if you can, weigh up the odds of it happening and go from there. And obviously the other things that you start thinking about is, if you're behind on board, can my opponent kill me next turn? If my opponent can kill me next turn, what can I do to prevent that, etc. And then you've got all the areas in the middle, which are basically, how can I gain board position? How can I gain an advantageous position? So we're actually up against Neelix this time around, and Neelix's deck, for a medium difficulty deck, and I believe it's a medium difficulty deck, is very difficult. First off, his special ability only costs 10 auxiliary power, not 5, and he summons a random common quality ship. Now, you'd think that wasn't too bad, but there are actually some pretty good random common quality ships. And this is probably the most RNG based. I'd say the most RNG based encounter, because he can just roll like 2 or 3 really, really good rolls, and you will just be dead. There's not very much you can do. So I think here, yeah, that's okay. The other option would have been the Olympic class. That's not a good attack. I should have attacked the Raider because the Raider has jamming. At least I think that's the Raider that has jamming. As you can see, he's just literally just dropping everything on the board. And you'd think that, oh, that's okay because all I need to do is put up a big taunt and I'm okay. And the problem with that is that taunts, number one, he has ships that can remove taunt, and number two, he has the ability to just activate his ability every turn. So it's very rare, until you get into the super late game, it's very rare that you're going to be able to hang with Neelix in terms of just producing ships. And he can produce some fairly nasty ones, like there's the Nausicaan prototype, that's a 3-1 with jamming, and I think I'll probably in the future have some examples, and there's an annoying one. He's managed to summon a Guardian, so therefore I can't get in behind it. But what I can do, I can use the Odyssey to disable the Nausicaan prototype, so therefore I'm not being held back by its jamming, and I can take out the Guardian. So again, I'm still in a sort of good position here. But you can see Neelix is actually gaining cards at this point, mainly because he's got a 1-3 which draws him cards. He's also got an ability which, you know, he can activate his ability almost every turn, which will cause a, which will let him draw cards as well. So it's almost impossible you're going to run him out of steam. This is an interesting one. I can drop the Challenger and I can actually retreat the Odyssey if I want to, just to make it... There you go. So this is basically, I'm doing this simply just to re-heal. I can re-heal it for one thing, and I can use it to disable the Nausicaan prototype again. So we're keeping everything locked down and just trying to... We're building a wall, basically. Fairly topical, I suppose, with recent events, but we are building a wall. But as you can see, our wall is actually going to come down. He's got another fairly annoying, well, not fairly annoying, that's a very annoying 4-drop that's happening there. So I think what I'm going to have to do here is drop a Galaxy class starship, buff its health. Yeah, that's okay. And put my pack lead here into the command slot, so I now get a modulated shield on it. So it's a 6/7 Guardian with modulated shields. So this should at least hold. It won't hold off for that long because you can see he's got 2 4-power ships. So this is only going to do so much. And Kess is a super powerful card, and you can actually see how he's just rolling through me at the moment, and it's going to be quite difficult to come back, but not impossible. As I said, the AI is awful, and I can potentially... I've got a Guardian there, so I can potentially high roll on this. Yep, that's a... I'd say that's a medium to high roll. That's like one of the top rolls there. It's pretty good, but not spectacular, I suppose. It's a pretty good roll, and he just trades off his ship for no reason when he should be going face there, and gets no value out of that ship. So we're okay here. We're going to need a little bit more help, I've got to admit, but still in this. Yep, another, and this one heals me whenever it takes damage. So here we go. At the moment we're going for a bit of another, well, yeah, another reflood. We've got Nebula class ships for days in hand, so yeah, more flooding. And eventually the idea is that we try and... Neelix will roll bad a couple of times and I'll be able to flood the board a little bit easier. Unfortunately, he rolled pretty well on a couple of the common ships, and I didn't get to do too much about it.
Their shield will hold.
Yuck. Yeah, he's just healing me at the moment. He's literally... Again, the best thing for him to do would be to not attack here. But the AI's kind of... the AI gets kind of gung-ho for attacking. He's just healed me for 2 there and taken the modulated shield off his ship. So, you know, we're not looking for optimal plays here. That's a great draw. That is a super good draw. So let's take this out, heal for 2. Also gain 2 auxiliary power. Now I can do a double heal here and bring the Glen back up to full, which I think I'm going to do. Yeah, it's near full, it's not quite full. I can also use Valeris if I want to, just to put an extra point of health on it, but I don't... Is that going to do anything? I don't think that actually does anything, so I think that might be a little bit of a waste doing that. Probably should have saved Valeris for the Valiant, because once the Valiant's online, I can just pick off 1 ship a turn for free, so there's no real need to be doing what I just did there. But now Neelix is just committing suicide with his ships now, so it's fine by me. And you can see he's got like a 1 mana, his ships are like 1 energy 1/3s that produce another ship. That amount of value is just absolutely ridiculous. Take out the Guardian. Take out the more dangerous ship with 2 crew on it. I think we're just going to drop... I'm not a fan of dropping the Valiant here because it leaves it exposed, but I suppose I've got a taunt behind it. And I also dropped the wrong taunt as well. I should have dropped the Nebula class ship. Not just because it's a bigger ship, but also because it has 2 crew slots, not 1. So there wasn't really much point in not dropping the Nebula class ship there. Oh, that's a really annoying one as well. That is a super good draw. So not only do I now have a commander on my Valiant, so it's got jamming, my other 2 ships have just been buffed. So now I've got 3 taunts to sit behind. Sorry, I keep using the phrase taunt. I mean, I keep using the phrase taunt. I of course mean Guardian. It's just one that I'm used to. And we'll just kill all of his... and because his Volatile Bird of Prey Exploding Gate dealt me 2 damage, I've actually got the ability to heal up here. That was a pretty poor heal. Oh, nice. Yep, we will take that. We will take that. I should have healed the Shran Cruiser there. I wondered when Hugh would be turning up. Oh, what Hugh's got to do with Neelix, I've no idea. But we can kill Hugh for free next turn, so that's always fine. The Independence is a weird ship. It's beautiful. I love Sovereign class ship. The Independence is a weird ship in that it would probably be better if it didn't have Guardian. The fact that the enemy can just attack it at will so that its ability doesn't work means that it's not as powerful as it potentially could be. So, yeah, but I suppose that's a balancing act, because if it didn't have Guardian and you were able to just sit that ship behind a Guardian, or even worse, give it stealth, if you were able to just do that, it would be one of the best ships in the game. Have I mentioned yet that jamming's really, really good? Have you seen the work that the Valiant is doing here? There's another big Guardian. I think that's probably the case here, just to go through. Yeah, I was just testing here, and no, you can't target something that's under stealth, so therefore that didn't work. Neelix commits suicide with another one of his ships, and even though Neelix is on 50 life here, he's pretty much on last legs here, because I'm going to be able to heal up the Independence this turn. I can actually heal it all the way to full as well. That was not the best idea. I should have attacked the 1/3 and then healed it up, so trade off here, that's fine. Yeah, I didn't do that as well as I would have wanted. Because, yeah, now I'm kind of noticing, I'm going to have to deal damage to the Independence anyway. That wasn't very clever. Never mind, we're just going to go straight face now. And again, that kind of makes sense, because I can just sit behind my wall of taunts. And I can also hope that he's just drawn 5 cards. Yeah, you can kind of see how this deck might be very frustrating to play against if you're not cheesing it like I am. Well, I'm hardly cheesing it. It's just the standard. It's just the type of deck I'm using. So really, what I've got to do now is save the independence from being in combat, or somehow, if I had I believe it's the keeper in this game he actually gives jamming. It's a crew that's like 5 mana and gives no stat bonuses at all, but he does give jamming. And if I could get that on the independence, then this game would be over. And I decided not to attack the independence. Never mind. As you can tell, I played this when I was fairly new at the game. Well, I still am fairly new at the game, let's be honest. But I would say I probably wouldn't be making... I certainly wouldn't be making mistakes on this level. Now, at least I hope I wouldn't be. And because Neelix has got so many cards in hand, I'm just going to play clear up here. I decided to bag off my heavy escort here because I want to land the Enterprise, because the Enterprise D is actually a continuous source of damage, and I can hide it behind the Independence, and all is well on that side. So we do a quick, not quite heal up because there's nothing to heal up, but you'll notice that the Enterprise now can literally just... Oh, he decided to retreat, interesting. And Barial as well. So he's certainly giving it the old, I think that a streamer who I follow would call this the old college try he's giving here, but he's definitely behind the 8 ball here. I'm trying to find a way to retreat this and actually gain some mana. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. I could turn the Independence into a 14-7. Not convinced that would actually accomplish anything though. That's really good. Pretty good draw that actually, because it means I can get ships involved in combat and not really worry about it. Let's kill the Delta Flyer. Heal up the Independence. Kill the Andorian Escort. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's just end turn. What the maintenance team can also be useful for... Oh, hey, it's Voyager. What the maintenance team can also be useful for is that if your opponent plays something that's got, say, a huge backside, like, say, plays something that's like a 1-6 or 1-7, you can actually reverse that. I'm just being vindictive here. I think I've missed lethal again. In fact, I've still got lethal if I choose to use maintenance teams. I still have lethal at this point. But you can. It's very easy when you're in. Yeah, whatever. It's very easy when you're in sort of survival mode, which you very much can be in these games. Yeah, I noticed my opponent's dead at this point. Oh, we can summon a legendary quality ship. I don't think the AI really uses legendary. I don't think it uses its ultimate anymore. And I think it actually died there because if you run out of cards to draw in your deck, and Neelix did draw 5 cards at some point there, if you run out of cards to draw in your deck, you actually take 5 damage every turn every time you attempt to draw a card and can't. Okay, so we're up against another AI who cheats here. This is Saru, and the big ability that he has is that, again, he only needs 10 auxiliary power to use his ability, and his ability is summon a 2-1 shuttle with haste. So, you know, anything with sort of low hit points is just going to die. So I'm playing the Cavort Raider there just because... You know, at the end of the day, I just need a ship in play that isn't going to immediately die, and I can actually use my special here to buff it up. Yeah, I think that's okay. And again, the distress call's really good. If I can survive into the mid game and get out a couple of Nebula escorts to hide behind, and then sort of get my Defiant in, that's fine. This is also okay because it's basically just a 2-4 with... It's basically just a 2-4.
Just thought I could be of
I think this is okay. Yeah, this is fine the way it's done. Menden's obviously very good on that side. You can see the sort of snowball effect that this deck has, but he's really just invested a load of cards and not done too much with them. I'm sort of very happy with the way this is going out. Now, a couple of options I have here. This is one of them. Just make a 3-4, just take out a ship for free, be happy about it. The other was dropping the 3-6. I'm not at a low enough life total at this point that I really care about doing too much healing, so I'd rather not lose that ship to any sort of bomb that, any sort of attack that he can do. I think that was just about as bad of an attack as you could have made there, and he plays his post-combat buff. He plays a combat buff after combat. Not stellar would be how I'd describe that. So we've got another 2-4 taunt here. I think that that's fine. Take out the Yorktown. Take out the shuttle pod. And I'm on 22, so I should be okay. I think maybe a big threat here. Or I can play... I can go sort of Kazon Fighter Olympic. This is also fine. So I've now got three Guardians. So that's fine. Ugh. Okay, well, essentially that's a six energy removal spell. I'm cool with that. Now I can put another one of these down. I can also put my Pack-Led in there, so the Glen now has 7 defense. Again, I think I wasn't thinking ahead there. What I should have done was leave it alone and then gone Valiant Pack-Led, and that would have given me my jamming. Yeah, that's fine. Just heal me, make your ship die. That's fine. So because I made a mistake there, this turn I don't have the Valiant open, which is not tremendously clever. I can, however, use the Danube Runabout to reduce the Borg Sphere's attack down to 1, kill it easily with the Olympic, kill that, and gain a couple of health as well. And yeah, might as well just drop a haste threat and hit him. It's not going to be too much better than it is now. Okay, he's just going to keep spamming out his things here. I'm probably going to lose the Glen this turn, but it's definitely, let's just say, it has definitely done its job. It's healed me all the way back up to full health and killed off about 5 of my opponent's ships, so it's done its job. Enterprise is good. Valiant plus Cassidy is good. I think my options at this point are just pretty good. Next turn, I think I tend to want to hold like Valiant plus Crew for when I've got... Oh! Species 8472 have appeared. That's a nothing ability that she's just done there. Did it completely out of order. So I think I'm just going to have to play... Well, smack him for 5. Trade the... Oh yeah, this is fine too. I've now got the Valiant. And Cassidy also brings in a 1-2 with her, which can actually be a pain in the backside because I actually don't want that 1-2 there, because it means I can't play any further ships. So what I probably should have done is, I think I've wasted damage there. What I should have done there, I think, was trade the Danube Runabout off and drop the 6-5 with Guardian there. But we are coming towards the end of this, because this is going to be a pretty easy game to finish. As the Enterprise just keeps hitting there. 18, not quite dead yet, but certainly getting there. The Decay battle crew, I can clear up here. Use the Valiant, don't play it yet. Ugh, that's terrible. It was like, I think I'm going to high roll as well. Yeah, it was like, use the Valiant. I should have used the Valiant to kill the 3-3, and then use the Valiant to kill the 3-3, then the Decay to clear up, and then attack with the Enterprise. I mean, it's very, very difficult to lose from this situation, but you should still look to do the best play that you possibly can. And yeah, let's just drop a... oh, it's the heal bot, never mind. Either way, this game's over. So the Enterprise will end it on my turn, I'm pretty sure. Nope, sorry, you've got too many cards in hand. Yep, that card's terrible, but never mind. And very shortly, he's not even got a taunt in place, so let's finish him off. So that's going to be it for this first part, guys, as we go 3-0, and I'll be back next time with some rather more difficult games. See you then.